We are back with an update on big cats because it's been how long since we recorded that now?
I believe it was a month ago tomorrow from where we're at. So yeah, it's
Happy
been at least a month. Yeah.
month-long big cat anniversary. No, we're adding this extra bit because well, a few new stories have come to light, haven't they?
Yes, and there's one in particular that was in the news just this morning. So I was like, we need to make sure we cover this. So it's almost like a big cat's weird news extra, extra, extra,
Extra,
extra,
extra.
extra, extra. There you go.
Um, so this was from Cumbria, and and it's something that came up in the Big Cats episode about DNA analysis and things like that. Well, apparently DNA belonging to a big cat has been identified on a sheep carcass found in Cumbria. Um, and it says in the article here, this is from a local paper, that some sightings of mystery creatures are panthers or pumas. Now, so to my understanding, what's happened is there's a lady who does, she is involved in the search for big cats. She's seen them several times. She's written articles about them. But there was a sheep that was killed, and they sent some of the they sent some of the saliva from the bites for DNA analysis. And yeah,
So actually, this story does involve. So when Paul was on, he plugged another podcast, Big Cat Conversations. And I believe that the presenter of Big Cat Conversations was in contact with her after she found the sheep and said, you should take some DNA and we'll send it for analysis.
so this came after a sort of whole host of sightings all around sort of Cumbria, and they've the lady's name was Sharon Larkin-Snowden, who is described here as an experienced Cumbrian big cat investigator. She came upon a sheep carcass and saw what she described as a black panther close by. So she actually saw a black big cat close by. Um, so she apparently discovered that the deer and sheep carcasses were predated by the felines. Sorry, yeah, basically preyed upon by these felines tend to be quite um, neatly consumed, unless, of course, they are disturbed at a kill. Um, Although they didn't disclose where the location was, apparently, because they didn't want to upset landowners or anything like that.
Yeah, I gather from so I have listened to the Big Cat Conversations, and I think she's quite friendly with a lot of farmers that allow her to do her research
Yeah, who
on their
don't
land.
necessarily want, reporters and public traipsing all over their land.
They also go to some fairly remote locations where most people aren't treading, which kind of makes sense when you're thinking about something like a big cat.
I mean, once you get up north that way and into Scotland as well, it is pretty remote. I mean, I don't know, you ever been walking in the Peak District or the Lake District or anything like that, or
I have the Lake District, yeah, years ago, pre-child.
but yeah, so I mean, you go further up north in Scotland, you do get like this vast swathes of farmland that is just, yeah, it's mainly just pasture for sheep. And I mentioned the episode to Paul, a sheep dies out there, it gets killed by something. It's not going to get found for months sometimes. These aren't animals that get in and checked on every day. So yeah, she passed swabs of around the bite marks apparently, and around the where it had been sort of taken apart to expert and producer of Big Cat Conversations, who Craig just mentioned,
Oh, there
Rick
you go. I
Winter.
didn't know it was in the article. Sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. It shows we're going from different sources and coming to the same
Yeah.
place. So they sent it to the University of Warwick. Now, the School of Life Sciences Centres offers a pioneering DNA analysis service, which loads of ecological consultancies use, and wildlife enthusiasts and private individuals, apparently. So the team, and it says here, led by Professor Robin Allaby, tested the swabs and found that one indicated a Panthera result, meaning it's from the genus of big cats, with two yielding fox DNA. So the fox DNA, I'm guessing they just died and were taken apart by foxes.
No, so the swab's from the same carcass.
Oh, I
So presumably
see.
once the big cat was scared off, presumably by her coming along, she spooked the big cat. And after that, obviously the carcass stayed there. She's gone off and has been told to go back and get the DNA. And
Ah, I
between then, a
see.
fox has also feasted on that carcass.
Yeah, which kind of indicates the cat didn't come back to the kill, you know. But that kind of goes into what we were talking about with Paul, which is where if there are big cats out there, they've probably learned not to go anywhere near humans, or they don't go anywhere near humans. So, and a human disturbs its kill and it's just going to clear off. So the section they sequence it to is distinct to the group Panthera, which includes all the big cats, lions, tigers, and bears. Oh, no, lions, tigers, panthers, and leopards. There was only a very small amount of DNA present, which again is not surprising. So we need more data from samples to pin it down to a specific species.
Yeah.
Now, there's a picture on this article of what looks very panther-like lying in the grass, and I see it on so many big cats, big cats in Britain articles on newspapers.
It's
And
probably
I'm
Getty
wondering,
images.
pardon?
It's probably just a Getty
It
images.
possibly is. I was thinking, is that one over here? Because that's definitely a panther, you know. Um,
The
so
images are never that clear when we get someone
no,
seeing a big cat.
it's it's big cat or Bigfoot. Um, so yeah, apparently after Rick from the podcast spotted one on a visit to Cumbria, he became fascinated with it. And he often speaks to Sharon about potential sightings and invites her on the podcast. Um,
Yeah, I listened to 2 episodes with her on today. Both were fairly recent. One was only out this week, I think, like yesterday or something. So he's on top of his big cat conversations.
he said she deserves credit, huge credit. This is Sharon. She's a dedicated investigator who networks with local people and farmers to gauge how these secretive cats use the landscape. We have ongoing reports of these large black cats, but getting hard evidence backs up the claims. We have other witnesses from Cumbria on the podcast, including a fireman on holiday who had a close-up sighting in '97. So close you can see the shadow spot markings within black pigment on the fur. So you know how they're sort of just kind of a genetic sort of, they're basically, sort of panthers. What we think of as a black panther
Yeah.
is a leopard. Is pretty much identical to a leopard, to the point where they do still have spots, but they're very dark spots on dark fur. So, but yeah, to see it that close, that's got to have been very, very close. Um, so this one makes me smile. The latest evidence comes after a visit by Sky TV for Hold the Front Page with Nish Kumar and Josh Widdicombe, who are investigating big cat sightings in Cumbria.
Yes.
So yeah, um, sterling investigative work, but it's drawing attention to it, I guess. Um, yeah, they said Rick was excited to help them out in their search for evidence and their witness stories, but they were frustrated they couldn't get a positive DNA sample when they visited in September. But it spurred us on, so when Sharon saw the big cat later in the autumn, I felt another test might be worth it. This is a good example of citizen science at work, led by Sharon for Big Cats in Cumbria, along with her Facebook page on the topic. So yeah, he then just at the end mentions a North Wales group called Puma Watch North Wales. Um, so Tony Jones, the founder of Puma Watch, said big cats such as pumas are solitary with hunting ranges of dozens of miles. They're mostly spotted in Snowdonia and the Gwydion Hills, but reports of sightings in urban locations some distance from these areas are becoming more frequent. So yeah, I mean that's like most of the article or a gist of it. It's a little bit longer than that, but the important thing, what we wanted to talk about, was the fact that apparently there has been a positive DNA sample taken.
Yeah. My only concern comes back to that whole thing about kind of the conservation aspect. So if they are out there and we want to get them protected in some way, I don't feel like announcing to the world that they're killing sheep is going to help the story.
No, this is true, but I think that is also going to be one of those things that shows that they're there. They're it's a difficult one. because
Mm.
they're going to do it. If they are there, they're going to do it whether we talk about it or not. I know some people say they don't like, maybe that people are covering it up because they think it'd be bad for the local councils, bad for the government, bad for landowners. To be honest, I think if someone genuinely thought there was a big cat somewhere, I mean, don't get me wrong, if it's in front of you, you're probably going to think otherwise. But I think it'd possibly increase tourism and interest in a place.
Yeah, maybe.
But you do have a point because, it's people will be trigger happy with their guns. People will be, people will be on the lookout and they will shoot them. They won't just think, bloody hell, there's a big cat over there. They might think, oh, a big cat, try and blow it away. So yeah, but then do you count it as conservation at that point? And I'm not saying you don't, this is up for debate, but they are an invasive species. If they are here in large numbers, they are an invasive species. I
Yeah.
don't like the idea of something as cool as that being wiped out, but would that be the view of it? Like, no, we need to get rid of these things.
Yeah, it's
Possibly
kind of comes down to
relocating rather than shooting.
like with the whole crayfish, isn't it? Signal
Yeah,
crayfish, and like there are these species where we class them as invasive and you can kill as many as you want.
yeah, that's it. Gonna go
So
get me a humour fur coat. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's always that argument as we mentioned in the in the podcast with Paul that for wolves and things like that being introduced to control deer population. But yeah, they will predate on but it does mention in the article that they do prey on deer as well. But yeah, quite often when there's markings of kills and things like that, it always seems to be sheep.
yeah, yeah. I didn't realize as well that one of the other sort of telltale signs is whether they've got bites on the snout because they suffocate the prey.
Ah, is that all big cats or just panthers and leopards?
I'm not 100% sure on that one.
Why
It was
not?
meant because I'm not a big cat expert.
Get Paul back.
Yeah. It was mentioned on one of the Big Cat Conversations episodes I listened to earlier, but I don't think they specified. It was just that there are these signs that you get of them biting the muzzle and suffocating. Because they're over 100 episodes in, it's probably something at that point they assume that you've got some background knowledge. And
Yeah.
I just jumped in at the most recent episode. So
I meant to listen to it earlier, but I knew you would, so
yeah. I don't have 100 hours to catch up with, unfortunately.
um but yeah,
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say there were a couple of other news articles recently about big cats yet again, but both of them, I mean, one is some slightly blurry trail camera footage from
Very
Gloucestershire,
blurry. I think
which may
slightly is generous.
is very much in the lines of something you'd expect from a Bigfoot sighting. And the other one, it's on a road, and as much as I can zoom in on it, to me, it looks like a black lab.
It's got long legs for a black lab. Can you screen share?
Doesn't like zooming in when that's about as big as
Go,
it gets.
got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does kind of look labbish. I can't see a tail, so it's either a docked tail or
I
yeah.
think there is a tail. Oh, does this show? Can you see my cursor on there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I
All
can.
right. I think the tail is there,
Okay.
but it's hard. It is hard to see. I mean,
It's the way it's walking, it looks like a cat walk.
I mean, it's definitely big. So if it's not some kind of black lab, then that is a big cat.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure someone with better knowledge of these things would know, but yeah.
So yeah, basically just wanted to share that little update because I found the DNA evidence quite interesting, as it was something we were talking about. Whether that will go any further, whether it still seems to be quite a fringe story at the moment.
Yeah.
I
I think
it's
it's
difficult.
another one in the bank for Cumbria, but I don't think I mean, it's not really going to go anywhere else, is it? It's just adding to the evidence.
Yeah.
I did also put on the skeptic's hat this morning and try and see if she had any credentials, and I think she is just an enthusiast. I don't think she's
Yeah.
got any background in zoology or anything like that.
Yeah.
She has seen like tens, if not hundreds, of sightings of big cats, and she often gets questioned on that. And she has said it's because she runs a Facebook group and they're out every week looking, that they go to sites where they've been seen. So that's why they've seen so many. But they're saying, like, 9 out of 10 times they see nothing when they go out. But if 1 in 10 times you see something and you're going out every week, it mounts up.
Let's stick my skeptics hat on. I'm going to get a skeptic hat. I don't know what they're going to look like, but they're going to say skeptics.
You can have a dunce's hat.
my you'd think you'd get a good camera, wouldn't you? If you're seeing that many.
Well, they've got drones for helping to cover more ground. They are increasing. Like they've got a quad bike, so they can reach more ground.
They're pretty serious about this then.
Yeah. They actually own 2 kind of big cats. I can't remember what they were called.
Jemima and Gertrude.
Servals.
Oh, I'm trying to remember what they look like. Ah, yes. Oh,
They have them living in their house, and they take them out for walks on a lead. They can't be, because they're a wildcat, they can't just go out.
Yeah. Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
Strange looking things, but very pretty.
Yeah. So yeah, she has those as pets. I think at the moment they've got, through the Big Cat Conversations podcast, one of the past guests upgraded their thermal imaging camera, and they've loaned her their old one for 6 months.
Okay.
So there's just little stuff like that. So I think they are taking it seriously. But yeah, it's like anything, isn't it? I mean, if I become a big cat researcher tomorrow,
Are you doing that?
Yes.
No,
I'm quitting my job.
Proper on the ground research. He's so dedicated, he's quitting his job and becoming a big cat researcher.
I might have to check with the wife first.
I mean, a family unit. Ocean would love it.
What's that? No, she says no. No, I'm not.
Oh well. Just professional vampire hunter is your last option left, then I guess.
She says no again.
That's exactly what a vampire would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that about covers it.
Yeah, we were trying to keep this one brief. It was just a quick update, just because these stories came out after we recorded. Yeah, so if you want to check out the interview on Big Cat Conversations, it's episode 110, where they go into a lot more detail. I think it's about an hour long. And then she was on a previous episode before that as well. So
yeah, as Craig said, that's about it from us. So nice catching up with you, Craig. We'll might do a few more of these sort of things, sort of additions with extra bits in the future.
Yeah, as and when stuff comes up, we'll probably keep them as Patreon exclusives. So
I want to say, like, it's just dedicated research that we do, that, sort of as it happens, which is part of it. But I think some of it is the fact that through researching an episode, we tend to get quite interested in the subject, so we'll keep reading about it, and so yeah, things will come up. But
well, I mentioned that on the episode as well, didn't I? That I don't know if it's because we're looking at it that we see it more, or whether there are more big cat sightings in the news at the moment. It's hard to say.
Yeah, in theory, weird news should get a bit easier the more often that happens, though, shouldn't it? As long as they're not all big cats. So I had a bit of a phase of them all being big cat sightings with weird news.
Yeah,
UFO
aliens.
sightings.
Yeah, UFOs.
Let's get some biblical plagues in the next one.
We have done biblical plagues before.
This is true. This is true.
We haven't done any Men in Black sightings yet, so look for some weird Men in Black weird
Oh,
news.
that's because they got the thing that wipes your memory.
Do they? I can't remember.
Yeah, apparently. Hey, it's been a long day, man. It took me a while to catch up to that one.
Is
Right.
this still the episode? Have we not ended yet?
That's it.
This
Go.
is like
Go.
this is like Lord of the Rings. This has got like 20 endings.
They were all necessary. I stand by that.
What, ours or the Lord of the Rings?
Lord of the Rings, ours are completely unnecessary.
Bye, Kaylee.
See you, Kaylee.